Good evening, everyone. This is your time for modern tales of true horror with Alfred Hitchcock.
I didn't have anything good to add to that, so I just sat quietly. Because I knew I was going to fuck that up hardcore.
Scheiße.
Anyway. Hi, everybody! What is happening with you people out there? It's lovely. Hello, it's good to see you again.
Hi, everybody in the TV land.
Yeah, about that. Yeah. Welcome to this week's latest episode of the Battle Bros Podcast. Latest and greatest, thank you. My name is Mac. This handsome stud over here, this is Alamo, and we are the Battle Bros Podcast. We get on here almost every Friday when we can. There's not other things going on, and we talk about
stuff,
issues related to the military and veteran community, first responder community, all that good stuff. Yeah, it's not just to that crowd. You know, we welcome anybody to be part of the conversation, to listen to what we're talking about. So,
hell yes,
we do not discriminate. Come on down. You're the next contestant on the Battle Bros Podcast.
That's right.
Obviously, we weren't on last week because some asshole named Milton just decided to come across our state and fuck things up for everybody. So we're going to talk about that in a little bit.
Yep.
But if you haven't done so, please feel free to get onto our social media page. You can go on YouTube. You can go on Facebook, X, Instagram, all that good stuff. Like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell. Make sure you're following it because it'll tell you when we have new episodes coming out.
And comment, especially if you're on YouTube.
Leave comments as well. Yes, indeed. Leave comments. So, yeah. So we're just gonna just get right into this crap. So,
hell yes.
If you caught our last show 2 weeks ago, we did episode 090. We were talking about the subject of blame. This week we're going to be talking about something a little bit different. But first, we're going to get into some current events and whatnot. We actually had another topic in mind when we originally were planning out our shows. In regards to what's happened the last few weeks here in Florida, actually last week, it felt a little bit more applicable and apropos to do a different subject that we're going to discuss here in a little bit. So, hopefully everybody that's down here in Florida that's watching the show, hopefully made it through the storm okay. If you haven't gotten power and or water back on, just be patient. They're getting to it as fast as they can. I know folks that just got power back as of this morning before they went to work and stuff. So some people actually 7-8 days. I was without power for about 91 hours. We were extremely fortunate in the fact that we just had a branch come down, swing almost 180 degrees parallel to the house, and just drop off and land right there in the yard and stuff. So that was very, 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 very fortunate. A lot of the trees in our area actually fell down because they're just bigger, heavier trees and whatnot. I mean, I think the thing that most people, that's really kind of surprised me about what most people said about the storm was the fact that it was just so effing loud. Like, it came across, it made landfall as a Category 3 hurricane, and it's probably one of the most loudest, nerve-wracking, dude. That first night, I was just a wreck. Couldn't sleep. The power shut off about 10. It got hot in the house and stuff. It was just noisy. I mean, it was just crazy. Like, we went out there.
Yeah.
My mother.
I agree with you.
We went out the next morning, at 6 a.m. We got our neighbors next door, and it's like being in a post-apocalyptic movie. We're just like, we're alive. We made it. Wow. Dude.
Or as Keanu Reeves would say, whoa.
That too. But I think what sums up perfectly the week since then, I posted on my personal Facebook page, it says, I saw this and I shared it. It said, "What a fucking year this last week has been," and it's like, "Yep, absolutely right, absolutely right." So, but yeah, I mean, some people got hit pretty bad, other places didn't. It's okay to be thankful and absolutely heartbroken at the same exact time because you may not have had any issues, other people next to you may have. It's going to take some time, folks. I mean, hell, it's only been a week post storm, so it's yeah. I mean, they're
Yep.
the good people out there doing the thing that they do. I mean, cutting down tree limbs across the roads and stuff. I mean, Jesus, there was the intersection by my house flooded. I've never seen water collect there. It was just like, what did it say, Keanu?
Whoa.
Yeah, that. So, but anyway, so because of all this, and we felt it was a little bit more applicable. We were originally going to talk about what were we going to talk about? I forget. Oh, achievement. We were going to talk about achievement, but
Was it
instead of
accomplishment?
that, no, it was achievement. It was achievement.
Okay.
We were going to talk about achievement. We decided to kind of put that back into the hopper for potential subjects and whatnot. So this week we're going to talk about have a discussion on the topic of appreciation.
But the word appreciation. Yeah.
Obviously, are you making fun of me, dude?
No.
Shut your fucking face, Uncle Fucker. Jesus. Anyway, we'll get to that in a minute. As we get back into the swing of just giving each other a blast of shit right here live on the show and whatnot. So it's good stuff. Anyway, so we found a couple of articles. We'll get back into that real quick. But we found a couple of articles that we wanted to share in regards to the military.
Yes,
so the first one, this is from the 15th. So this would have been on Tuesday of this week. It's training changes on the horizon for Army Guardsmen. And this is an article that was posted in Army Times on their website and whatnot. So we're just going to read this one real quick. So Army National Guard must find new ways to train in a limited number of days each year so that their formations are ready to fight. That's the first
fart.
I saw fight and large, and I went to fight large-scale combat operations when called. Army National Guard Director Lieutenant General Jonathan Stubbs said Tuesday at the annual Association of the U.S. Army Conference. Guardsmen are generally restricted to serving 39 days each year, and in that time, soldiers must practice everything from physical training and small arms marksmanship to knocking down aerial threats and planning how to move a brigade across the globe. Stubbs challenges leaders to find new ways to approach collective training. Quote, "If we are ready to combat as a large organization, we will be ready for anything," Stubbs said. Stubbs painted a picture noting that 84 years ago, the Army watched as the German military swept across Europe, Italian troops marched through Africa, and Japan took island after island in the Pacific. And then the following year, the Japanese military struck Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, and the United States entered World War II. In some ways, we are where our nation was in October 1940. That's a bit of a generalization. I don't agree with that statement. Obviously,
yeah.
While noting that war is unavoidable and work that the Guard does in its overseas deployments and training is helping to deter such an event, Stubbs said that the state of the world gives the limited training time that the Guard uses a greater sense of urgency. Stubbs said that the Guard and active Army leadership are weighing ways to change training to fit the needs of the Guard as it transforms while continuing its homeland defense and disaster response missions. One concept, which has not yet been approved, could involve a 15-day combat training center rotation instead of a 30-day rotation. These exercises are culminating events that stress test battalions, brigades, and recently divisions alongside their support units and enablers. Finding new ways to deploy some personnel early to a training center, such as National Training Center at Fort Irwin, California, and JRTC, the Joint Readiness Training Center at Fort Johnson, Louisiana, could mean a portion of Guard unit staff working alongside an active Army unit at the center for the end of their rotation as a guard unit arrives to begin their stint. So that will be kind of interesting to kind of see. I'm not going to read all that. Just kind of want to get into it, but you can go on armytimes.com and check that out. That is, again, training changes ahead for Army Guardsmen, and that was posted October 15th of this week, actually. So that'll be interesting. So the other article that we found, and this one to me seemed a little bit more, obviously, being a National Guardsman, like that one was applicable to me and stuff, but this one actually kind of is a little bit more applicable to me and Alamo as a whole because of our status as 11 series infantry soldiers. So the Army announced that it is going to combine the CIB and the EIB, so the Combat Infantry Badge and the Expert Infantry Badge, because if you can pull up that picture and show it, Alamo, I'd appreciate that when I sent you. Not the article, but the one I sent you. But yeah, so the issue is if you qualified.
I don't have my Gmail pulled up.
Okay, no worries. I'll stop. I'll just keep talking for a minute while you do that. But so the awards fall into different groups for your badges. So you have your CIB, which is in group 1, and then your EIB and the other applicable badges. So your medical badges, your combat action badge, your expert soldier badge, all that stuff. Almo's going to pull up a picture here in just a second. They're going to combine those so that way you can show that you have earned both. They're going to slightly redo the badges from what we understand. And that way it'll be a new badge, just be colored different. So that way you can show that you can have earned both. Because if you have a CI Combat Infantryman's badge and an Expert Infantryman's badge, you can only wear one or the other. You're only allowed to wear one Group 1 and one Group 2 because of the MOS qualifications and whatnot. So there's the infantry badge, you have the medical badge, and you have the C8, the combat action badge, and the expert soldier badge and stuff. So it's going to start off being basically where what they're going to do is they're going to take the CIB, which is the EIB badge itself with a wreath around it, which is a wreath that shows laurel for achievement in combat. The wreath is going to be made gold colored. So that way you can clarify.
No. Yanny.
What? What? Your connection's slow, dude. And I'm like, what the hell is Yenny? I don't know what the hell you're talking about, and you just freaking totally derailed my train of thought here. So shut up. Anyway, they're going to take the CIB, the combat badge, and basically the wreath will be made into the different variation is going to have like a gold color. So same thing for the combat medical badge, and then for the combat action badge. So the wreath part of the badge itself will be gold in color, and it will signify that you've earned both the combat and the expert badges themselves. They also said something else in the article talking about they're going to redo for guys that did mountaineering school, like War Daddy. I know he has a ram's head device. That is a device that's unique to the Vermont National Guard, which basically means you've gone through Army Mountain Warfare School. If you ever see it, it's a very distinct badge. You don't see it that often. I've only ever seen it once, and it was in a subdued fashion on somebody's like pocket, the little notepad holder doodad thingy. So yeah, that's going to be interesting to see how that looks. There's some other things that are coming out of the AUSA conference. It was announced that from Sergeant Major of the Army Weimer that the Army is going to redo its PT uniform, which I think is kind of like, well, shit, we just got the ones we have like 7 years ago, so why are we going through all that nonsense again? That's kind of a little bit ridiculous. Like, let's focus on other things, like making sure, dwell times are what they should be, and like making sure the barracks that our soldiers are living in aren't full of mold and nasty shit. Like, that would be a good idea. I'm not really worried about, getting new PTs and stuff. Like, gravy, but it's not that important. But that's just me. So, yeah. Other than that, like I get it. Let's worry about important stuff like the EIB CIB thing. Yeah, that's cool. I've never really known of too many guys that had that be a problem. I know most guys usually rock the CIB just because that's the combat badge, and they're just like, well, that's a little bit more important. Yada yada yada. So, but that'll still be interesting to see. It's kind of crazy how things change. Once you got in the military, you kind of look back and you're like, oh, that's weird. Like you have different accoutrements now. Like you can get an ARCOM or an AAM
Accoutrements.
with a C device, the letter C as in Charlie, for earning that decoration for combat operations, even as like a drone operator and all that crazy stuff. So there's all kind of stuff changes, shaking and baking, all that good stuff. There we go. Perfect. So that's if you're watching right now, or if you're looking at viewing this on like Spotify or whatnot, you can see that all the Group 1 stuff, the CIB, the CMB, and the CAB, infantry, medical, and action badge in that order. The wreath itself is going to end up being a gold colored, while the original expert badge will stay in silver, I believe. I don't know. They could make the whole thing gold. I don't know. That would kind of bling up the CIB
This part
pretty
being the
badass.
wreath right here.
Yeah. So, but yeah, they haven't really
Dems being the wreath.
they haven't decided when that's going to come out. It hasn't been said. They just kind of said this is on the agenda for going down the road and all that good stuff. So, we will see what that looks like. So that's it for the news. So we're going to get into our show topic. As we talked about earlier, we decided midstream to change our topic of discussion this week from achievement to appreciation. And, a lot of it stems from the fact of, the hurricanes coming through. There are people that literally lost everything. Their houses are gone, all their possessions. There's people that lost their lives. There's people that lost a lot of different things. So it's important to take stock in what you do have and be appreciative, because at any minute that stuff can get taken away. I mean, the worst, like I said, 91 hours is 5 hours shy of 4 days that we didn't have power. So, you adapt, you kind of overcome the obstacles in front of you, you improvise your way of doing things a little bit. Shout out to Nissan North America for making a fantastic phone charger, because I was using my car to do that for like 3 or 4 days after the hurricane and stuff. So I actually was sleeping in my car at one point just because the weather was nice outside. But so yeah, they make a good phone charger. They make a pretty awesome tent that you can drive around and stuff. So it's pretty great.
Hell yes.
Want to make sure that we're being appreciative for the things that we have, and not for the things that we don't have. I can say that for probably a good chunk of people out there that were affected by the storm, it could be a lot worse. Some people would probably say, no, I lost a loved one, or I lost everything. It probably can't get too much worse. And I'm not trying to get into that whole argument of, oh, you have it worse than me, the pity party, or all this stuff. It sucked for a lot of reasons, for a lot of people.
Absolutely did.
The water being up around everywhere was insane. The damage is just absolutely just like crazy. But we also again have to remember, like just 2 weeks before that, we had Helene come through, and she went right up into the mountains of North Carolina, South Carolina, and just wreaked havoc. Like they're still trying to, process and unfuck that situation. So,
and kudos to those pilots, man. Kudos to the pilots with the big brass balls that have been going up there and freaking doing what, honestly, that the government like really wasn't doing for quite a bit of time.
4 days. They didn't show up on site for 4 days, but that's another conversation for another time. So,
yep.
Anyway, so let me just close these tabs out since we read them already. So, appreciation. What is the definition? Well, hell, I'm glad you asked. We're going to tell you right now. So, appreciation is defined as recognition and enjoyment of the good qualities of someone or something. It's also described as a full understanding of a situation. Okay? So we're going to talk about appreciation. That was sound like you had a grizzly bear in the microphone going.
Yeah.
Jackass.
So
when we were talking about this show this week, we kind of had a couple of different avenues of what we were kind of bringing up for appreciation. One was being appreciative of, like we said, of what you have at the time. I'm very appreciative that none of my friends or family were hurt or injured.
Hell yes.
Houses, unfortunately, that's where we live. That's our homestead. But at the same time, that's something that can be replaced, rebuilt.
Air 5. We survived. Air 5. Yeah.
Are you impaired right now? Like,
no.
What is going on with you? You're just so weird tonight.
I'm actually really fucking tired.
Oh, well then just say that, dude, I'm barely holding on. I've got freaking sweet tea over here. I've got the brain grenade that's going to need to happen later. Oh, dude, we're ready to go.
Yeah.
By the way, I just have to say, Monster is not a sponsor or is not a sponsor of the Battle Bros podcast. I just drink them on my own accord because they're fabulous.
Although Monster, if you would like to sponsor us one of these days.
Yeah, we're not going to say no to that. I'll drink your stuff and get paid for it. Hell yes, absolutely. So, also, I'm getting over some kind of chest crud. So if I sound like crap, now you know.
He had a case of the Count Crudula.
Oh yeah, it's bad. Coughing up oysters all week, dude. It's freaking awful. So, as we mentioned, one of the things is being appreciative for what you have, but something that I thought about for younger folks as well, and it could be like newer, younger, junior enlisted members of the military, young officers, even kids.
Damn youngins.
I kind of think about, like your boys, my daughter, kids that are, coming up through school right now. It's appreciating the process. I think a lot of folks nowadays
absolutely
just want to get to the end result. They want to go from start, instantaneously be transported to the finish line, and not have to put any of the hard work, blood, sweat, and tears into what they're trying to accomplish. And I'm like, hey,
it's the instant gratification, man. It's just the way society is nowadays, especially with how quick and fast we can get anything and everything nowadays. You know what I'm saying? It just, I mean, I'm not saying it's a good
Sarge, thing. It's horseshit.
But yeah, no, it is. It is horseshit. But
it's absolute crap.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we're the angle we're going to take tonight. We're going to look at it from a couple different angles. Like appreciating the process and everything else. How appreciation can boost individual and team morale. How to embrace and appreciate the process, and then why we stop appreciating good things in our lives. So these are all articles that we're going to read. They're not too long. All of them are pretty, they're relatively short time-wise. So let's get into it. This first one is called "You Need to Appreciate the Process of Things So You Can Work Out Better." This is published in healingbrave.com on March 1st of 2019. And here we go. So, when you appreciate the process of whatever you're striving for, you create a better outcome for yourself, because the outcome is a result of how you got there, and the energy you feed into the process, joy versus stress, has a say. Crap, I clicked off. Has a say in how you feel when you get to its end. Feelings first, then the journey, then the destination. Know you're right where you need to be, and you'll feel better about what you can do from here. You can do everything from here, always here. Sure, your life might not be 100% how you'd like it to be. Fact. You might not be exactly where you'd like to be. Also, facts. Being a human is hard. But everything that's ever existed or happened has merged into this moment. If something didn't happen 300 years ago, you likely wouldn't be here with the body that's breathing and reading this. Kind of nutty and spectacular to think about. Here's the trick to being in the right place at the right time. Knowing you always are. Can you believe it? I dare you to give yourself that grace. The beautiful truth is that you're right where you need to be to change, to own your emotions, to spend your time, energy, and thoughts on a reality and a tomorrow that serves how you do want to feel. Your healing doesn't need a timeline. Your future doesn't want your worries. Your success begins again and again right in the fertile ground of the present moment. Be here. That's where you're meant to be. It's the only place your living, breathing body can be. I feel like if you've got this nerdy attachment to the outcome of some project, to the weekend, or anything that requires you to wait, keep reading. Keep these 5 things in mind when you're impatient because you feel like you're behind. Number 1, you're your most powerful in the present moment. You're the most powerful. I just said that. Wow. While you are where you are wholeheartedly is where the whole universe is. If you really want to feel like you're powerful right where you are, get a copy of my new. Well, that's okay. That's an ad, but still, get a copy of my new book, Morning Affirmations, to start your day with confidence. Right where you fully are is where the power of the universe is. The power to change, the power to choose, and the power to be on purpose. Number 2, appreciate the process and you'll harvest more to appreciate later. The joy of arriving is cultivated on the path there. You cultivate joy of arriving on the path there. Before arriving, you make sure you actually live. In your struggle to get where you think you need to be, beware of having no time or ability to ever be anywhere that you are. Every small task of everyday life is part of the total harmony of the universe. Saint Teresa of Lisieux. Saint Therese, or whatever. Therese. Where the heck? Oh, sorry. I was looking for something. Number 3, change is in your nature, so don't worry that things will never change. Embrace that they will. A miracle is always available to me. That is the nature of the miraculous. Potentiality. Try believing in possibility itself. That can help you take a step back and honor where you are, because right where you are is the beginning to everything that hasn't happened yet. Don't be troubled because of the mountaintops you have yet to touch. Like a tree, you will grow not from the sky but from the ground up. Morgan Harper Nichols. Number 4, if something feels like it's missing, it might be you. Love is already here, but you may need to unlock the door. Is love missing, or are you not involved with the moment? I don't mean being involved with whatever pain, stress, or drama is happening right now, or ignoring it for that matter. I mean what's underneath the noise and chaos. As you're watching the news, can you take conscious breaths and use the pain as fuel for your next good deed? Focus on what you're giving to the process or activity. It's what you'll bring more of into the world and into your life. Number 5, a moment of gratitude here and there to feel like life and you are enough gives you even more power to grow. How to be held without holding. How to be truly free. To lie on the earth and gaze at the sky and need nothing else. You don't need to have it all figured out to enjoy where you are in life. You can think this life is enough while still looking forward to changing things up. Gratitude and enthusiasm are sisters, not opposites. That's something that kind of stuck with me from this article. It helps to stop every so often to adore life as it is, and for a moment not need anything else. Then you can move forward with a smile. So, yeah, that was pretty good. I like that one. So, going to the other side, we're going to switch into another article here that we read, that we found. This is called Notes of Appreciation Can Boost Individual and Team Morale. This is by Whitney Johnson and Amy Humble from November 21st of 2022 on hbr.org, which is the Harvard Business Review. We'll get right into this. So, kicking right off. Are you ready to go there, dude? You're getting there. That's fine. So it says, play to their strengths. Leaders across the world instinctively know that playing to the strengths of each person on their team will accelerate both personal and organizational growth. But it's easier said than done. Identifying strengths, our own or anyone else's, can be tricky. At Disruption Advisors, the tech-enabled talent development company we co-founded, we've adopted a simple approach to identifying them playing to strengths across teams. It's the exercise of writing notes of appreciation. This strategy is especially effective as a wrap-up to our leadership retreats. Each attendee, whether they are the CEO or the newest junior hire, leaves with the same assignment. Write a note of appreciation to each teammate in the next 2 weeks. To encourage follow-through, they also copy their team leader as well as someone at our firm. Hold that thought.
Bless you.
I was actually coughing, but it's all good. I appreciate it regardless.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I should have known, because usually you sound like, ahoo!
Really? Really? Okay. Next time I see you, I'm fucking you up on site. Just throwing that out there. A note of appreciation isn't the generic thank you we've all received, or, let's be honest, written 100 times. It demands specificity. The author must offer real-world examples that clearly explains the attribute or actions that is appreciated and why it's appreciated. So they read, and so consider this real-life note. I value and appreciate your unique perspective whenever we are facing tough and complex decisions. You bring pragmatism to our conversations, which moves us from theory to action. You weigh if it is the right thing for us to do, which helps us better live our values. You view all situations with empathy, helping us make more caring decisions. Mm-hmm. You bring a team mindset to decisions, rolling up your sleeves to help whoever needs help and inspiring others to pitch in. You help us make decisions as a team. The feedback to this activity has been positive. Many individuals have teared up these notes, bolstering them when the going gets rough. One person shared that their outpouring appreciation was, quote, one of the highlights of their year. All right, so now we're going to read through a couple of different notes here. So this is at the very end. It's just going to be a couple. So why notes of appreciation are so impactful? Number one, they help people see their strengths. It is common for people to not recognize their own strengths. Because if superpowers are reflexively easy for us, we're often not only blind to them, we can undervalue them. We may even be dismissive of them because we do them effortlessly. Notes of appreciation are a mirror which we can hold up to our colleagues to help them see their strengths. It also allows us to explicitly communicate that those strengths are available to us and our team. Also, by copying the team leader on the appreciation email, the team lead can identify common themes, better pinpointing specific individuals' strengths. Number two, they focus our attention on what's working. Where we focus our attention matters. Neuroscience supports this, as Whitney explores in her latest book, Smart Growth. Our brains have a magnificent filtering mechanism, organizing millions of pieces of data using a process called the Reticular Activating System, or RAS. We largely form this filter ourselves, whether consciously or subconsciously, by instructing our brain what to focus on. As with ads on social media feeds, whatever we pay attention to, we receive more of in return. If we're focused on what isn't working, our brains will learn to look for more of what isn't working. But if our brain focuses on what is working, we will get more of what's going well. When we tell our teammates that they do well in a note of appreciation, we are giving them a conscious push to filter for their strengths. And then number three, the last one, they signal to people that they matter. And this is so critically important, especially in a workplace environment. Absolutely.
Yep.
Work can become very tactical, and it can be easy to focus more on our to-do list than our teammates. When we write a note of appreciation, we are indicating to our colleague, quote, I see you. I appreciate the work you are doing, end quote. This is not only validating for them, but it reminds us that they are valuable. If you think that sounds silly, you're not alone. Our human tendency is to think of critics as more discerning, more discriminating, and those who offer praise as less sophisticated. Most of us want to be seen as sophisticated and discerning. Expressing appreciation, therefore, becomes much more than writing a note. It is a mental exercise that builds new neural pathways to push against the subconscious bias that elevates criticism over praise. Paraphrasing Gretchen Rubin, quote, enthusiasm about a colleague requires social courage. It is an act of humility, end quote. It may be difficult, but humility and enthusiasm about our colleagues greases the gears of human interactions. Positive attention is 30 times more powerful than negative attention, as Marcus Buckingham and Ashley Goodall have shared. People don't need feedback, they need attention to what they do best. A focus on strengths increases performance. Therefore, a focus on strengths is what creates growth. If, as a leader, you want to accelerate the growth of your team, you'll need to play to the strengths of both individuals and the collective. That begins with knowing not only your own strengths, but also the strengths of each person on your team. And it can start with a simple, well-considered note of appreciation.
That one, honestly, that one, like, kind of like, which I was glad that we chose that article, because when I read it, I was like, man, this like really. Because one thing I've noticed, like, especially in the professional setting, like in many of the jobs that I've been to, like, if you're not, especially when it's especially if it's a really well performing employee and you're not like focusing in on what that person has to offer and what they have to bring to the table, like it there's a tendency for those people to go seeking their work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you a lot in many, many, many different corporate settings, specifically because recognition is not offered and it's not freaking, and it's not given. Um, and a lot of the times you'll have companies that give that recognition all to, you know, the boss or the person that's in charge.
Yeah.
Well, some bitch. Um, Fun fact, the boss doesn't do it by himself. He has a team behind him that helps him do it. So, um, a little bit of recognition is nice on the end of the people that are actually trying to, what I'm saying? And
Yeah. No, for sure,
I say
dude.
that from experience of being that guy that was not recognized for quite some time, for a long time, actually. Whether by, you know, things that I did or being by, just my boss being the one taking all the credit for things that I did do, which sucks.
And I've had kind of a similar experience, but like with the positive flip outcome, um, kind of like that around. So, um, when I started working at the second gun store I worked at in Tampa, I mean, we were popular. We were very, very, very popular, and especially like the range counter, like we were always just hopping and popping. Like it was always busy because we had 3 bays of lanes of shooting lanes. We had the rifle range, so like between customers, between classes that we offered, everything else, like it was so hard, and it was just like it never let up, especially like the first like 6 months we were open. So one day, the owner's walking through, and I have the utmost respect for this gentleman. He was one of the original owners when we first opened, and then kind of sold his half of the business or whatnot. But anyway, he comes back there and he's like, "Hey, Mac, you guys are busy as crap." I said, "What, if anything, can I do to help?" I said, "Honestly, sir," I said, "if you just want to pair yourself with one of the cashiers over here at the counter and stuff, and just grab targets and ammo and all that stuff, I said that'll probably be the biggest thing you can do to help, because everybody else is kind of out on the lanes, and I got guys, walking the lines as range safety officers and this, that, and the other, and guys at another registers over here and this, that, and the other. And he was back there for probably a good 30 minutes. And then afterwards, he came back. He's like, Mac, I really don't feel like I did a whole lot of help. I said, on the contrary, sir. I said, you've shown these people that one of the owners came back here. So the customers know that you're the owner. The employees see that the owner's back here sweating and working just like they are. Like, they're going to appreciate the fact that you put in that effort and that kind of leadership. I said, that's going to speak and pay off dividends in volumes for a long time. And it was just one of those special like workplace moments that just made it absolutely just freaking wonderful. So, but yeah, I mean, and it got to the point where, like you were talking about
earlier, yes,
it got to where the appreciation, we're always back there busting our hump and stuff. It just got to the point where we weren't really being appreciated. It's like, oh, here's something, throw the kids a bone or something. It's like, and I'm not blaming anybody that was there. It kind of came from higher up. It was just toxic management style, toxic other things. So we'll leave that alone and we will move on.
Numbers over quality. It's quantity of service over quality.
You can't have every single employee tracking what they sell. I sell a bunch of stuff. I sell a bunch of ammo. I sell a bunch of targets. I'm not selling Swarovski scopes and like Trijicon night sights and all this high dollar stuff. I'm not in the sales floor. It's a different space.
Yeah.
There's always going to be people coming in to shoot. There's not always going to be people coming in to spend, $1,000 plus on the new tactical Black Ninja, Black Rifle Ninja cool looking accessory doodad whiz bang that's going to make their weapon system look fantastic. It's just not. I mean, you have to like work those people for a little while, as any salesman knows. But yeah, they're not always going to sell stuff. That's why they lean on the counter a lot. And I'm not saying that to point anybody out. It's just that's why you see them lean on the counter, because they're not selling stuff. A good range that's run well, that's managed, that's staffed correctly and properly, and they're trained and they have good customer service, man, that place will be busy all the damn time. All the time. I will die on that hill.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to get off my soapbox, but I'm going to die on that hill. All right, so the next article we found is a shorter article. It's how to embrace and appreciate the process. This is kind of where I was kind of felt like the topic was kind of pulling me. Like you get guys that want to go and be police officers. Well, they get hired and they're like, all right, where's my uniforms? Where's my gun and badge? Where's my squad car? Like, no. You got to spend 6 months in the academy. You got to spend the next 6 months in freaking FTO phase before they cut you loose. And you got to just go through the motions like everybody else did, It's, yeah, that's how that works. So, how to embrace and appreciate the process. It has been 3 years at the time of writing this have I begun my journey as an entrepreneur and writer. It hasn't been easy, with several reasons why I should stop and give up. Even to this day, where the money I'm making is so little compared to what I could have been making other places, I'm still pursuing this idea of mine. Call it stupidity or nonsensical. I honestly don't care. At the end of the day, it is my own life and my own choice to live this way. But it was through the adventure thus far that I've actually learned a valuable thing. It concerns embracing the process and showing appreciation for it. At the beginning, I wanted money fast. I first jumped into entrepreneurship for the potential massive revenue I could make. It's the same reason I pursued an accounting career, as people could potentially earn hundreds of thousands of dollars, or at least that's what I thought. Money was something that moved me forward, and as a result, I grew obsessed with it. It drove me to the point that I participated in a variety of things solely because it would help me make money. Because of the simple desire that I had, I lost sight of what I wanted to pursue. I lost the real reason for going on this journey, and as a result, I wasted my time for a while. But it was through this journey and embracing this process that I learn to believe in myself and find a better reason. To embrace this process is to find a purpose. I realized eventually that in order for us to grow, we need to adapt and change. Pretty sure I said that earlier on, folks, if anybody's paying attention. But more importantly, find a reason to do that. I could have given up at any point in time, and yet I pursued it as I felt I was growing. Even though my life was stalling, I was still learning about myself, how I work, and some avenues that I could pursue. This is what the process is all about, finding where our experiments take us and what we can learn from it. From there, new paths and new discoveries await us. But that alone won't help us in pursuing our goals. We need to have a purpose. It's where these lessons gain significance in our lives and that we actually apply what we learn. To find the purpose, because it's worth tracing back to the reason why we started this journey of self-discovery. What exactly did you want to achieve back then? Have you achieved what you were looking for? Do you truly feel compelled to do right now? These are questions well worth asking when you are approaching your growth process. To appreciate the process is to pursue it. Of course, the act of pursuing and embracing the process is how we show appreciation for it. This is our life journey, after all. There are many twists and turns to it. Some turns make sense, while others don't. The human mind is constantly developing and changing based on our surroundings. It's for this reason why we need to be patient and enjoy the transformations that we go through. By quickly focusing on one thing and ignoring everything else, we can lose ourselves. Lately, Go ahead.
I got something. I think a good way of like kind of summing up so far what we've heard is we're not as people, okay? We're not in the pursuit of perfection. Nobody is perfect. There's only one that is perfect. Okay, we're not perfect. However, we as people should consistently and constantly seek growth. Okay. We are in the pursuit of growth, whether that's growing into a better parent, whether that's growing into a better, employee, business owner, whatever. We are in the pursuit of growing in, I mean, for lack of better terminology, we are in the pursuit of growing in our pursuits. We're constantly seeking ways to better ourselves, and there's no better way of doing that than learning how to appreciate how far we've come. And I think this article is covering that like in a kind of more broad sense, but bringing the broad into kind of that condensed, little focal point. Like we are in the pursuit of growth. We're not in the pursuit of perfection because no one can be or is perfect. You hear that, new age kids? Nobody. But we are in the pursuit of growth, which is the most important takeaway.
100% agree, dude. 100% agree. Lately, some large YouTubers have been suffering from a lot of mental health. It's not that they are obsessed with money. However, they've gotten to a point where some people act like robots. It can be challenging to keep up with their life, and at some point, they lost what made them enjoy making videos. They once enjoyed the process and the journey has brought them far, but there are times in our stories where changes are needed. The only way to discover that is to pursue and appreciate the work we've made thus far. So take your time with your journey. It's not meant to be rushed. Find problems that could sprout out and deal with them, but above all, embrace the journey. Here's to your growth. Yeah. Do you want to add in that last article? Because that one was the longer one that we were kind of like, eh.
Yeah, psychology to eh, I think we're good with what we because the psychology. Don't get me wrong, I read it and it's got great info. It's just very as
Long in
opposed
the
to where
tooth.
everything else was kind of so yeah. So but it does have great information in it.
Oh, it does.
If you
It's just
guys
a
would
lot.
like to check out that article, yeah, it's a lot. If you guys would like to check out that article, you could go to psychologytoday.com. The headline in there is Between You and Me, why we stop appreciating the good things in our lives. There's a lot of good info in there. I recommend you guys do go and read it. But it is long winded. So in this kind of format that we have right now, it's a
Warno.
little bit, yeah.
Warno. It's a little bit on the long side. It's like reading an op order. It's a little on the longer side. So
Yeah, almost like a case study. Like it's like what they did.
yeah,
It seems
pretty
like.
much. I mean, but you have a she's a
Um,
social psychologist and she's doing research. So yeah, it's gonna have a certain format to
yeah,
it. So I get that.
exactly. But good
So kind of
information. Great
oh,
information.
100%, 100%. So circling the wagons back around, when we talk about appreciation, there's a lot of things that kind of come under that umbrella, whether it's appreciating what you have, appreciating, how you've gotten to, um, where you are. I was asked, there's kind of two things I want to wrap up this episode kind of to share with you. So I've mentioned both these before, but um, I was asked a while back if I could go back in time, would I change anything? And I said, let me formulate my answer. I'll answer last. And the other group members of the group kind of went and answered certain things. So I'd change this business decision. I would, do this and maybe make, the team and school or whatnot, this, that, and the other. And then it got to me. I said, honestly, I wouldn't change anything. And here's why. Because um, who what I who I am and what I've been through makes me the person I am today. And I'm pretty happy with the person I am today. Is there always room for growth? Hell fuck yeah. Is there room for improvement? Duh. I mean, absolutely. If you stop trying to improve and stop trying to learn, you limit yourself exponentially. But I said, I wouldn't go back and change anything because good, bad, or other, what I've gone through has made me the person I am today. And I'm pretty, happy and content with that person. I said if I would go back in time, it would just be to relive the emotions of those particular moments, but I wouldn't change anything. Yeah, it's easy to say, oh, go back and change it so you can make a lot of money. Yeah, great, but you know, that's a pipe dream. I would love
Pretty
to.
much. Kind of like the
I
Back to
would.
the Future, go back with the almanac and learn who's the
Yeah.
winning team's
Oh,
miss and bet
dude,
on
great
it.
example. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You take the almanac back in time and just make money hand over fist like it's nothing. Or,
Mhm.
like when you have to go grab all the stones from, different alternate timelines and stuff like they did in Avengers.
Avengers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I
So,
mean, I don't know if I don't know if I would change anything either. Because in all honesty, I mean, I don't know if I'd have the life I have today.
yeah.
I'm a homeowner. I have a great wife. I've got two rambunctious, but wonderful boys, loving kids. Very smart, um, very hyper, aka the
Oh, they
rambunctiousness.
they cloned you, bro. Absolutely.
But again, I have a great family, and I think if I did go back and made different choices, I really don't think I'd be where I am right now myself, and I
And
probably
that's the
wouldn't have
thing
made
is,
the
like
choices that I
when
made
when
to
you
get
talk
here.
about like going back and like altering the timeline, you don't know what that's going to change. You may
Right.
end up, with, being wealthy and stuff. You may not be married. You may have, there's always some kind of caveat. And where I'm at right now, like I've got a great group of friends. I've got, great family that supports me. Some of my family members are gone. They're passed on and whatnot. But I appreciate the time I got to spend with them while they were here. And that's so crucially important, I think. The second
Absolutely.
thing I was going to say was, and this is kind of going back to the beginning of the show, so we're going to circle the wagon all the way around. Is a lot. I caught a lot of crap over being in the National Guard. It's like that little bit of that rivalry there.
That came out of
Active
nowhere.
duty versus reserve, or National Guard component, all that kind of stuff. But I'll tell you, man, like I dropped my shoe. Hold on.
Active component, the National Guard component, all made in the USA.
And if you can name what that's paraphrased from, you're pretty awesome. So, yeah. But
hell yes.
What made me appreciate what was so formative to my life as a young man, like right out of high school, was being in the National Guard, because I went to boot camp in 2003, and then right into 2004, the battalion came back from Iraq, and they ended up unfortunately having to get right into state active duty, because we were gone for, I think, like 3 months or something, for the 4 hurricanes that came through in 2004. That was your senior year of high school.
Yep.
Charlie, Francis, Ivan, and Gene. And what was really cool is, like, being active duty, yeah, you get to go out and do cool stuff, but like you don't necessarily have that sense of community like you do when you're in the National Guard. I mean, that's your first priority, besides being, a reserve component to the active force, is that you fall directly under the state governor and the defense of that state and the aid and rescue of that state.
Damn right.
So there were plenty of times when we were out on like State Road 50, Colonial Boulevard in Orlando, passing out water. People just came up and said, "Hey, we appreciate you. Thank you so much." And you kind of become, you just get to be a little bit more aware of what kind of appreciation, especially like this is 3 years after 9/11. 1, 2, like 4 hurricanes came through and just ravaged the state all over the place, which is, I think, the reason why they started adding hurricane days and planning days, so that they had that buffer built into like the school calendars and whatnot. But just going out in the communities and seeing all these people, and you're passing out water, or you're just giving them MREs, and it's, food for them to eat that they haven't had in a couple of days. It's not the greatest thing, but man, MRE sounds pretty damn awesome when you haven't had any food. All your stuff got washed away.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a lady. I was up in somewhere up in the Panhandle, and there was a lady who was out in her front yard, and it had just been washed up. And we got reports of guys that were on boats. They would come up on boats, go through and ransack these houses, and then turn around and haul butt out of there. Because the floodwaters were so high. And this lady was sitting there showing us, she's like, I've got, she had this like, these 3 pieces of silverware. It was a spoon, a fork, and a knife. She goes, my great-great-grandmother brought this over with her when they immigrated to this country. There was like 100 pieces of silver in here, and these 3 are all that are left, because they were either lost in the mud and the floodwaters, or they got looted and stuff. And it's just like the appreciation of that moment and the interaction, those interpersonal moments you have with people, it's just fantastic. So I am very, very appreciative of the fact that I did serve in the military, but also more importantly in the National Guard, because that was just so critical to who I am as a person now, that those moments of just being there for other people and the way that I look after people in my life too. So what did you want to wrap up with there, Macho?
No, I just, speaking to people, specifically, from my experience, you don't want to get caught up in the, and which is one reason why I actually ended up liking that article that I commented on. I mean, I liked all the articles we chose, but that one specifically, it touched on it, on the whole growth mindset thing. It touched on the whole growth mindset thing without actually specifically saying it the way I explained it. And I kind of want to reach out to anybody else that's hearing this and say, hey, I've been if you're one of those people that feel like you've been stuck, you feel like you're not going anywhere, or if you feel that you're kind of not moving, I've been there. I've been there. And you know, your main focus, your main goal out of everything that you experience, everything that you go through, it should be first and foremost to take heed and look back and say, okay, well, how did I get better from this? Take your perfection mindset and turn it into a growth mindset. Allow yourself to accept the failures that did occur, and not see them as complete failures. See them as, well, now I know how to not do this. Or, well, that happened. Won't be doing that again that way. The growth mindset is probably one of the best things you can, especially for your mental health. It's probably one of the best things you can do, because without actually when you're in the pursuit of perfection, when you're in the pursuit of, well, I'm going to get this done, I have to do this so I can get ABC. When you're focusing on the where are you going rather than how are you getting there and why, you know what I mean? One big thing is your why. And I'm pretty sure we've mentioned that before on a different show. You you lose what you were trying to pursue in the first place. So focus on your growth. Growth mindset is key. Don't don't try to focus so hard on the future, and I would venture to even say don't focus on the past. Focus on the present. Understand that what you're going through is simply there to shape and mold you, whether it's you believe in, the man upstairs, or you believe the universe is guiding you through everything. you know I'm a very deep believer in the idea that we go through what we go through for a reason. And the I'll say it in a way that makes sense to me. We are all potter's clay, and we are still being molded and shaped. So
I
you
like that.
focus on that,
That's a
you'll
great. That is a great analogy.
yeah, you
Wow,
focus on that, and you'll be perfectly okay, man.
that's great, man. That's some deep stuff, man. I like it. So that concludes our talk on appreciation. We want to thank everybody for listening, giving it a watch, all the good stuff. Please feel free to comment wherever you're watching this, whether it's on one of the podcast platforms, if it's on YouTube, whatever the case may be. Feel free to leave some comments and feedback. We'd love to hear from our viewers and listeners. Um, Let us know, hey, is there something we missed? Is there something we could have said a little bit differently? Do you disagree with us? We're not going to shy away from discussion just because you have a disagreement, or a difference of opinion or point of view and all that good stuff. So,
Heck yes.
but yeah, just remember to be appreciative, folks. Whatever you got, I mean, you could lose everything, but if you're still alive and upright and in, good health and the ability to go and regain what you lost, hey, that's not bad. Go be appreciative of it, all that good stuff. So,
Still alive.
absolutely. So we're gonna end the show the way we do every time. If you are checking us out for the first time, thank you so much for stopping by. We appreciate you giving our show a chance, giving it a look and
Use
or listen.
guys.
Um, this show kind of started off of some tragedy. We had Alamo and I have a friend of ours named John. John was a guy that we worked with when we worked together in retail. John was a hilarious dude, just kind of guy give your shirt off his back. We fell out of touch, and unfortunately, John had some demons and solved a temporary problem with a permanent solution. And that is unfortunate because John is one of those guys that's worth knowing. I mean, he was hilarious, funny fucker, just absolutely, had a vigor for life that was just amazing. So Alamo and we did a couple other things in the past. We were talking about getting back together, doing something. We found out about John, and I said, dude, that was my aha moment. I'm in. Let's do a podcast, whatever we were talking about. I didn't know anything about a podcast. I remember looking at Alamo, and I'm like, dude, I don't know anything about this. He says, dude, it's like a monkey in space. How hard can it be? And I'm like, yeah, that's a good point. So, in the process of coming up for the idea of what this show was, the vision, the mission, and what would become our identity, we came up with something called the Bros Code. And what the Bros Code is just kind of 4 easy little things you can do to just kind of keep yourself here, to be appreciative of what you have and to keep pushing forward and not giving up. It's easy to remember, just BROS. So the first one, be tenacious. No matter what you do in life, go out and do it to the fullest of your ability. Don't just sit there and spin your tires in the mud. Do what you can to get up out of there and do something about it. In the words of the immortal Ron Swanson, don't half-ass 2 things, whole-ass 1 thing. And I really can't add anything to that brilliance because that wisdom is just some next level shit right there. So moving along. R, refuse to surrender. Like I just mentioned with having your car stuck in the mud, keep trying to get it out of there, rock it out, get it towed out, whatever the case may be. There's going to be days when you're going to get kicked down. You're going to get your face in the dirt. You're going to get somebody's going to knock your dick in the dirt, and you're going to get your mud all over your face and all that kind of stuff. All you can do is just get up, brush yourself off, and keep moving. That's going to happen plenty of times. It shouldn't be something like a foreign concept. It's going to happen a lot.
Yep.
Embrace it. It's going to happen. And then we move on, go from there. Obliterate your obstacles. As we just mentioned, sometimes there are going to be things that come up. There's going to be things that happen. Sometimes you may have to take an alternate path. You may have to take a detour. You have to go back the way you came. Sometimes you got to kind of skirt through the woods alongside a river to go a mile downstream and then get back on the main path. It happens. Whatever those obstacles look like. Sometimes they're physical, mental, emotional, psychological, whatever the case may be. Sometimes there's things that happen where you have to breach those set obstacles. Sometimes you need C4 in Bangalore. Sometimes you need to have, close air support come in and carpet bomb a minefield so you can drive through the damn thing. I think I hear Bert. Did I just hear Bert? Nice. Hello, Bert. Sometimes when you got to get through a door, you try to push it down. It won't go. So you breach it with some Semtex. On other times, you make a door. You drive an armored vehicle backwards through the thing because, oops, it needed a door. Whatever the case may be. Obliterate your obstacles. Do not let them stop you from accomplishing the mission and heading towards the objective, the OBJ.
Damn right.
Last and certainly not least, S, seek out help in a time of need. As we mentioned with our friend John, he solved a temporary problem with a permanent solution, and he is no longer with us. And that is unfortunate because John was a guy worth knowing. He was a guy worth having around. If you ever feel like you're in a similar spot, reach out to somebody. It can be almost anybody that would be capable of helping you through that kind of time, whether it's a family member, a friend, a coworker, somebody you served in the military with. This is part of our mission right here. We're trying to stop this. On average, 22 military veterans a day commit suicide and take their own life. And that is the pandemic that we're trying to stop. If you ever feel like you're going to go down that bad path or feel like hurting yourself, don't stop. Reach out, call somebody. If you don't have anybody that you can call, there are some options available to you. There's the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. You can read them a couple of different ways. You can call the hotline by dialing the 800 number, 1-800-273-8255. Again, that's 1-800-273-8255, or just dial TALK for the last four numbers. You can also dial 988. That's 988. Once you get on there, if you need to talk to somebody right then and there, you press 1. They'll get somebody on the phone, on the horn, to talk to you and help you through whatever you're going through. They are open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Do not feel like you have to go through things alone, because as humans, we're not solitary creatures. We're social creatures. We live in groups. We're like primates. They have a group of people, or like a pod of whales or dolphins, or whatever the case may be. We go through things together. We're social creatures. So just remember that. If you can remember those four things: be tenacious, refuse to surrender, obliterate your obstacles, seek out help in time of need, you're going to have a pretty decent chance of doing okay. And we want to keep everybody around. Everybody needs to be here to tell their story so that we can go and pass these on to other people. So please remember that. And if you need help, get whatever that help looks like, get help. So I'm going to pass off to Alamo. He's going to wrap it up, and then we're going to get the hell out of here. So take it away.
If you'd like to catch up with us on the social medias, you can do that in multiple fashions. One of those fashions is by jumping over onto the Facebook owned by Meta. You can catch us over there at facebook.com/Battle Bros that podcast. You can also catch us on Instagram, owned by Meta, at Battle Bros _podcast. You can catch us over on as well the X, aka Twitter, at Battle Bros PC. That's once again at Battle Bros PC. And there you can actually contact us via all the instant messenger services that they have in those applications. You can send public messages and things of that nature. But if you would like to contact us more privately, you can do that via our Gmail, which is battlebrospc@gmail.com. That is once again battlebrospc@gmail.com, where you can actually message us privately. If you have, a story about yourself, friend, family member, whatever the case may be that you're worried about, and you wouldn't like those things to be very public, you want them to be a little bit more private, but you're not so sure who you can talk to about things, message us. We will more than gladly talk to you, give you some encouragement, things of that nature, and whoever else may be needing that message. Because let's be honest here, sometimes it's not about you, sometimes it's about somebody whether it's friend, family member, or otherwise. And we're here for anybody and everybody that needs that help. And we want to be there for, pretty much anybody that needs that help. Because let's be honest here, we all deserve to be here, and we all deserve to have our story told. And, you're not just, depriving yourself of anything. You're depriving everyone around you of you. Let's be honest here when we talk about what's actually happening when those kind of decisions are made. So have a second thought, try to think it out. And like I said, just, drop a message down there. If you want to go ahead and listen to us on other platforms, you can do that on multiple different platforms. You can catch us on Spotify. You can catch us on Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, all the platforms that you listen to on audio. And on Spotify, by the way, we are also on video. So if you don't catch us here live on YouTube, you can catch us on the Spotify via video, and you can actually see all the material that we have shown right here. You can also catch us on Rumble. There is still quite a delay. I have to go back and just start uploading a bunch of episodes onto Rumble, just because of how bad it's gotten with, I guess, the data transfer over there. YouTube and Rumble are not exactly the closest of friends right now, so I think that's part of what's happening. But given that, regardless, either way, myself and Mac will figure that part out, and we'll start getting the videos uploaded back up to Rumble. Other than that, that's all I got. Just remember, like, share, subscribe, and comment if you're on YouTube. Comment. That's the most important thing, because it allows YouTube to start being like, oh, people are actually like watching the videos through and saying stuff about these guys or saying stuff about what they're talking about. Okay, maybe we'll
Fight
start
the
sharing them a little
algorithm!
bit more, because that's how the algorithm works.
So once again, everybody,
yeah,
thanks again for
that's
stopping
all I
by
got.
and giving us a look and a listen. We appreciate you helping support the channel. This has been our conversation on appreciation. This is episode 091 of the Battle Bros podcast. We want to thank you again for your continued support. We appreciate it. We would not have a show and channel if it was not for everybody out there watching, viewing, listening, consuming the content, as it were.
That's right.
Last thing I want to say on appreciation, like, be appreciative of what you have. Be appreciative of what's in your life, and just be appreciative of the fact that everybody else around you, especially out here in the Tampa area, we all went through some crazy shit together. So, like, just take a second, breathe. Let's not fly off the handle at everybody, because we're all just stressed to the fucking max. Everybody's frazzled. Hurricane fatigue is a real thing. I'm going through it right now. My sleep sucks. It's just awful. So just remember and be appreciative that, we're still here to with what we have. So
That's right.
But again, thank you for stopping by. This is episode 091, entitled Appreciation of the Battle Bros podcast. My name is Mac. This handsome SOB is Alamo. We appreciate you guys, and just remember, be tenacious, refuse to surrender, obliterate your obstacles, seek out help in a time of need. If you can remember those 4 things, you're giving yourself a better chance of being okay. So until that note, we will see you down the road, and thanks for stopping by.
Battle Bros out.